Pune was the cradle of Swaraj, the land where Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj planned, moved, and shaped the dream of self-rule. And yet, this very city fell into the Mughal hands. But what followed rewrote the balance of power. How did this city transform from occupied grounds into the nerve center of Maratha power? And how did a cluster of settlements rise to become an 18th century metropolis alive with politics, ambition, and empire?
This is the dawn of a new age when strategy, spirit, and sheer will reshaped an empire.
To find out more about the Peshwa era, we went to author and historian Shantanu Paranspe.
So basically the story starts in 1707. Basically this year was the year of death of Aurangzeb. All the sons of Aurangzeb, they started marching towards Delhi because they also had ambition to sit on the throne of Delhi, right? But at the same time, they also wanted to restrict Marathas to the Maharashtra level. So that's when they basically released Chhatrapati Shahu Maharaj. He was the elder son of Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj. And by that time, he was the rightful legal heir of the throne.
But in his path stood his own aunt Tara Rani Sahib. Two claims to the same throne, loyalties split, and a possible civil war. Just as the Mughals imagined it. As destruction loomed, an unlikely hero stepped up and saved Swarajya from splitting.
Balaji Vishwanath Bhatt was born in the coastal town of Divyagar, far from the power corridors of the Maratha capital. Starting out under Chhatrapati Rajaram Maharaj, he cut his teeth in administration and warfare under the mentorship of the legendary Maratha general Dhanaji Jadhav. Balaji had the mind of a diplomat and the patience of a chess player. With these qualities, he quickly rose through the ranks, becoming Sar Subedar of Daulatabad. And in 1708, fate opened a new door. He joined the camp of Shahuraje. One by one, he flipped the big names, Purandares, Dhanaji Jadhav, and every Sardar who mattered, all to rally behind Shahuraje. As Shahuraje marched to Satara with his forces, Tara Rani was forced to relocate to Kolhapur. Shahuraje was crowned as Chhatrapati, and in the afterglow of that win, Shahuji gave Balaji the ultimate promotion, the title of Peshwa. As Peshwa, Balaji Vishwanath took up the task of realigning the spine of the Maratha Empire. He tightened the administration, streamlined revenue, and laid the blueprint for something bigger, mastery over the entire subcontinent. But fate had other plans. Just 6 years in, illness struck, and the new empire's architect was gone.
His mantle was then passed to a tanned and chiseled Ranveer. No. His mantle was then passed to a young, fierce and magnetic Bajirao Ballar, Balaji's eldest son. And as history would know him, the unstoppable Peshwa. Bajirao's goal in his mind was very clear. He even declared it in Satara's court that he wanted to expand the Maratha Empire from Attock, which is now in northern Pakistan, to Cuttack in eastern Odisha. It was in Bajirao's tenure that the greatest chapter in the story of Pune had just begun.
One dawn, while scouting for a new headquarters, Bajirao saw something that made him pause. A hare chasing a hound. An omen so strange, he knew this was the spot. Here, he laid the foundation of Shaniwarwada, the nerve center of the Maratha power for decades to come.
To truly grasp what this center of power once looked like, I turned to someone who knows its secrets best, renowned architect Kiran Kalamdani.
Shaniwarwada was largely seen as a place in which the subsequent Peshwas they ruled, they expanded the Maratha confederacy. That is not to say that it was built at one go, because Chhatrapati Shahu had asked Bajirao the first to stop the construction because he thought that if you built a fortress, it might be used against us if somebody else seizes the power. So the construction was stopped, and after Shahu Maharaj passed away, Nanasaheb Peshwa completed what we see today as the Delhi Darwaza and those 9 bastions. It's now today called as Bajirao Road. Was once the Ambi Loda. The Ambi Loda used to flow right next to Shaniwarwada, and it is only in the time of Nanasaheb Peshwa that he turned the course of the Ambi Loda, and what we have today is Bajirao Road.
So the plan of Shaniwarwada, which actually shows us the center of at the north is the Delhi Darwaza. It was called Delhi Darwaza because it faced the north. It was seen as the place from where if you went straight ahead you would reach Delhi. On the east you have the Mastani Darwaza, which actually faces north and which was built near the Mastani Mahal. That is the space on the northeast which you see as a lawn today, and from where the Mastani Mahal was removed right up to its foundations by Timaji Appa because of the kind of problems that they were there of having Mastani right inside. Towards the east of this Mastani Darwaza, facing the Kasba Pet of today, is the Kauki Darwaza or Zambul Darwaza. Zambul is actually the jamun tree that was there, and Kautata Zhad or the wood apple tree is why it is called Kauki Darwaza. In the same line to the southeast is the Ganesh Darwaza, because it goes towards the Ganesh temple and in Kasba Pet, which is not more than about 200 meters away from here. Then you come down to the southwestern corner, which is the Narayan Darwaza on the southwest.
In all, you have these 4 gates and you have 9 bastions. The walls are about 20 feet high, and one of the models that the Peshwas used were the Purandarewada, which is in Saswat.
Here is a bird's eye view of Shaniwarwada in its entirety. Right in front of you as you enter, there are these 2 little fountains which are a precursor to entering the main building. To the left of the main building, immediately after the entrance, is the Mastani Mahal. A little further is the Chimna Bagh that exists even today, and facing the Chimna Bagh to the south of Chimna Bagh is the Ganpati Ranga Mahal. That was the most important building of Shaniwarwada, which was like a Diwane arm, and on the first floor of which was the Mahal in which various meetings used to take place. Far behind at the back you can see a tall building which is known as the Satkhani Satmazli Imarat, and the last sort of pavilion of the building. One could see Parvati very easily, and some people say that you could see Alandi to the north and you could see maybe Kezuri to the south. So that speaks about the air quality index and probably the clearer air that was there at one time, and which today is difficult to come by in polluted Pune. Right after you enter is the stables for horses and elephants, and right next to it is the dancing hall or the Natasa Diwan Khana, behind which again there are quarters for Raghunath Rao Peshwa and several other people who are important people in the period. So in this way there are about 14 buildings. For anybody who visits Shaniwarwada today, one feels that the size is very modest, and yet these people were very effective in actually administering and controlling a large part of today's India.
As time passed, Bajirao only grew stronger. He even instilled fear in the heart of the Mughal emperor. At the pace of his expansion, Bajirao's audacious dream of Atak te Katak didn't seem like just a promise but felt like destiny. But destiny is unpredictable. In 1740, at a mere age of 40 years old, having won all his 41 battles in a span of 20 years, Bajirao fell ill, and the empire lost its undefeated warrior. However, the fire Bajirao had ignited burnt bright, and his successor was about to turn it into a firestorm.
Out of the shadows of a formidable father stepped a 19-year-old with the calm of a monk and the mind of a master planner. Balaji Bajirao, fondly known as Nanasaheb. He was raised in the royal court of Satara, mentored in diplomacy from his teens, guided by the sharp wit of his grandmother Radhabai and the quiet strength of his mother Kashibai. After the storming success of Bajirao, Nanasaheb was like a steady hand that could shape a city, an empire and a legacy. And his first project too was Pune.
There was a shortage of water in the Pune city. So Nanasaheb Peshwa decided to have an underground water aqueduct which is called Nahar. Nahar is a Farsi word. And for that, he constructed 2 dams in the Katraj. Now, the Katraj lake that you see today, that lake, the 2 lakes, the upper lake and the lower lake, these 2 lakes have been constructed by Nanasaheb Peshwa. And from that Katraj lake, he brought water to the Shaniwarwada and to the different parts of Pune city.
With Carthrage's water flowing steady, Pune was waiting to explode in size. Nanasaheb had the vision to develop a designed city, a blueprint that still breathes in its stone lanes, its bustling markets, and its Puneri Peti pride. Welcome to the story of the fates of Pune.
Now, when Nanasaheb came to power, he decided to expand Pune. Now, Pet means an area where the citizens of that particular city lives. But Pet also means an area where the market is located, right? I am the administrator of Pune and I want to create a new Pet. So what I'll do, I'll call an auction. I'll decide a charge. In Marathi, we call it Bakta. Bakta means an yearly amount that the person who is going to set up the Pet has to deposit that amount in advance to the government. So that Makta, which was awarded by Peshwas to multiple people, and these people were called as Shete and Mahajan. 2 people were having the responsibility of establishing a Pet.
Kasba Pet and Somwar Pet are the oldest of the Pets. They housed artisans, temples, and a few sardars and bankers. Then came Shaniwar Pet, which housed Shaniwarwada. Most important people in the city lived here. But the real game changer in this Pet pattern was Shukrawar Pet. Let us see how it transformed Pune from a cluster of settlements to a metropolis.
Formerly known as Visapur, Shukrawar Pet was set up on the orders of Bajirao I. It was given as a kaul to 2 brothers, Harshet and Somshet, but at the time it did not take off. In Nanasaheb's era, a kaul was given to Jivaji Pant Kasgire, Pune's Kotwal. Jivaji Pant leveled up the game.
He widened lanes, grabbed lands for government quarters, and packed the area with Peshwa's foundry, infantry lines, stables, gym, and even artillery headquarters. This Pet ranged from the richest noble to the foundry workers and domestic help. Kasgire even built an apartment block just for the courtesans, all under one roof. Shukrawar Pet was one of the most happening localities of that time.
If you look at Pune, the current Pune has 18 different Pets. Now Budhwar Pet is again one of the important Pet because if you see, there are 2 main sardars. First one is Khasgi Wale, second one is Tulshi Bagh Wale. They had their own gardens located in the Budhwar Pet. And another is Belbagh, which was constructed by Nana Fadnis, who was again one of the able administrator. He also had his own house in Budhwar Pet. So Budhwar Pet is important from the political point of view because many people they used to live in Budhwar Pet. Sadashiv Pet is again important because all these people, they had their own gardens in Sadashiv Pet. So if you look at that period, Sadashiv Pet was something where you can have your second home.
But Nanasaheb's legacy was not just Pets and waterworks. He gave Pune its most enduring spot, the Parvati Hill.
Who better to reveal the story of Parvati Hill than Pushkar Peshwa, a direct descendant of the Peshwas themselves?
श्रीमंत थोरले बाजीराव पेशवे यांच्या पत्नी काशीबाई साहेब यांना पायाचा त्रास होता आणि त्या त्रासासाठी त्यांनी या मंदिराकडे या देवीकडे विनंती केली आणि त्यांचा तो त्रास त्या बऱ्या झाल्या त्याच्यातनं आणि त्यांनी नानासाहेब पेशव्यांना ही कल्पना सुचवली की तुम्ही इथे देवदेवेश्वराचं मंदिर बांधावं आणि ते नानासाहेब पेशव्यांनी मंदिर आज बांधलं. देवदेवेश्वराच्या मंदिराबरोबर अनेक मंदिरं ही पर्वतीवरती बांधली गेली आहेत. त्याच्यात कार्तिक स्वामीचं मंदिर आहे जे राघुवदादा पेशव्यांनी बांधलं आणि आपल्याला विष्णूचं मंदिर बघायला मिळतं जे माधवराव साहेब पेशव्यांनी बांधलं.
To understand every intricate detail of this iconic symbol, I turn to conservation architect Saurabh Marathe.
पर्वतीवरचं एक मोठं देऊळ म्हणजे विष्णूचं देऊळ. त्या विष्णूचं नाव आहे माधव विष्णू. आता तुम्ही विष्णूची मूर्ती अशी एकटी किंवा सुट्टं नुसतं विष्णूचं मंदिर बघितलं नसेल किंवा खूप रेअर गोष्ट आहे. तर ह्याची गोष्ट अशी आहे, नेपाळचा जो राजा होता त्याला पेशव्यांनी या शाळीग्रामांची मागणी केली आणि असं लक्षात आलं की त्याने ते काम दुसऱ्यावर सोपवलं, पण 2-1 महिने झाले काही घडलं नाही. पेशव्याने या गोष्टीचा त्रास झाला आणि त्यांनी आपलं सैन्य नेपाळच्या दिशेने पाठवायचं ठरवलं. कदाचित हे सैन्य भुसावळपर्यंत पोचलं अशी काही नोंद आहे. पण ज्या क्षणी नेपाळ नरेशला कळलं की पेशवे आपले सैन्य पाठवतात तर प्रचंड काहीतरी घडेल या भीतीने त्याने चांगल्यातले चांगले शाळीग्राम शोधून पुण्यात पाठवले. ते शाळीग्राम आज या मंदिरात आहे.
For Nanasaheb, Parvati was a safe refuge. From the summit, he found calm above politics even as his empire stretched wide. In just 21 years, he had realized his father's dream of expanding the borders of the Maratha Empire from Afghanistan in the north to the banks of the Kaveri in the south. But when the rise is so high, the fall is brutal. In 1761, Ahmad Shah Abdali marched from Afghanistan with a delusion to rule Hindustan. On 14 January, his army clashed with the Maratha forces in Panipat. Nanasaheb's cousin Sadashiv Rao Bhau led the army. His eldest son Vishwas Rao rode into battle with him. What followed next was one of the bloodiest days in Indian history. Tens of thousands of Maratha soldiers laid down their lives, and along with them, Sadashiv Rao and Vishwas Rao. This defeat completely shattered Nanasaheb, and he withdrew to his beloved Parvati Hill. And it's right here that on 23rd June 1761, the man who had taken the empire to its zenith breathed his last. As the empire was staggering from its worst defeat, it had lost yet another Peshwa, this time to grief. Seizing the moment, the Nizam of Hyderabad stormed Pune. The Peshwa family was forced to retreat to the Sinhagad fort. Nizam's men looted and destroyed Pune. Fate once again had asked Pune who would be her savior in this emergency, and Pune had an answer once again.